He hooked up with a stranger on a whim, but he never expected that after one wild night, the man discovered he was pregnant. In just a single night, the man started getting morning sickness, and even more unbelievable, his belly swelled up. He tried taking emergency contraceptive pills, but they had absolutely no effect. Desperate to figure out what was going on, he rushed to the woman's house like a madman, but when they saw the state he was in, the woman's parents didn't panic at all. They expertly pushed some tables together into an operating bed, and got ready to deliver the baby.
Oh God!
Before the man could even snap out of his terror, he learned something that broke him even more.
How is this gonna work? Where's it gonna come out?
It's gonna come out the same way it got in.
After hearing it, the man completely lost his mind. At that moment, he could never have imagined the far more brutal price he was about to pay. The story begins with a morgue that's been around for ages. The man in charge is Byron, an old fellow past 60. His face is deathly pale, giving off a really eerie vibe. And since the place itself is so creepy, hardly anyone in town ever comes here. But one day, after Byron finished handling a young victim, a girl named Sam showed up at the morgue. She claimed she was there for a job, but she really came to dig into the strange stories Byron collected. See, this old man had a peculiar hobby. He liked to record how people died, and write their deaths down in his books. And since Sam loved dark, thrilling things, after she begged him again and again, Byron told her his first story. At a cocktail party, a young, beautiful woman named Judy hid alone in the bathroom to escape a man harassing her. She sat down casually on the toilet, and downed the red wine in her hand in one go. But to everyone's surprise, the next second, several wallets appeared in her hands. Turns out her real identity was a thief. Looks like business was pretty good today. The cash in those wallets made her a fortune. Not only that, Judy also scored an expensive pocket watch. After appraising her haul, she planned to head out and keep working, but then a noise came from a hidden compartment behind the mirror. The moment she heard it, her habits kicked in. No matter what, she had to open it and look. Even though the cabinet was locked, that was no problem for Judy at all. She pulled out a small knife, and went to work on the lock. She managed to pry it open, but she accidentally cut her finger. And while she was tending to the wound, the cabinet door she just opened closed itself. Seeing this, Judy didn't panic at all. Instead, she felt a strange kind of excitement. Years of stealing told her there had to be something valuable inside. So without a thought for the consequences, she yanked hard on the cabinet door. Sure enough, Judy got it open. But what was inside left her stunned. A second ago she was thrilled to pry it open. Now she was desperately trying to shut it. Only after the cabinet went quiet did Judy think to call for help. But no matter how she screamed, there was no answer outside. Judy knew she couldn't stay like this, so she crept carefully toward the door. But right at that moment, the pocket watch she'd taken slipped and fell to the floor. And then, a creature that looked like an octopus burst out, and wrapped tightly around Judy's body. No matter how she struggled, that creature clung to her. With a loud crack, Judy's spine was snapped clean in two. After hearing Byron's story, Sam didn't find it thrilling at all. Byron just smiled calmly, and said that was only an appetizer. The stories that followed would absolutely terrify her. And with that, he began his second story. Nick was a free spirit when it came to love. Put simply, he was a player. Every day on campus, he'd school the younger girls on love. But it was all just to win their trust, and get more girls to come to the parties he threw. In Nick's mind, girls were supposed to be shy, and he had to be the one making the bold moves. But this time, Nick met an exception. Nami's directness left him stunned. Not only did she agree to come to his party that night, she even said she didn't mind getting intimate with him. Hearing this, the guy was practically dancing with joy. So caught up in his excitement, he completely forgot that a lot of male students had gone missing lately. At the party that night, the two of them naturally ended up together. The sparks flew, and things heated up fast. Even though Nami stressed again and again to be safe, Nick played dirty for his own selfish desires. And so, after that one night, Nick noticed a rash breaking out all over his skin. Sensing something was wrong, he rushed to the hospital. But the doctor was shocked when he saw the results, and gave Nick a more thorough examination. This was, without a doubt, the rarest condition the doctor had seen in all his years. After confirming Nick was a man, he was so scared he ran off on the spot. This left Nick completely dumbfounded. He quickly grabbed the test report next to him, and it read, "Intrauterine pregnancy, no abnormalities." At first Nick thought the doctor had made a mistake, but after just one night, his belly swelled up. Nick finally realized how serious this was, and hurried to call Nami. Once he got her home address, he rushed straight over, but right as he stepped out, his buddies blocked his way. Turns out, ever since he slept with Nami, Nick's ranking had shot up to 67, making him #1 on their team. Everyone was itching to celebrate. Even though his body felt awful, Thinking this was his own glory, Nick still accepted the banner, but no one expected that the moment he hung the banner at the highest spot, his body reached its limit. The next second, he spewed out a strange fluid. His friends were all shocked, and Nick took the chance to slip away, racing to Nami's house as fast as he could. But seeing the state Nick was in, Nami's parents didn't panic at all. As if they were long used to this, they pushed the dining table into an operating bed, and got ready to deliver. Nami came out at that moment too. Nick furiously demanded to know what was happening, but Nami calmly said, "I thought you took precautions." See, Nami belonged to a very secretive family. The people in her family had a special power, the ability to make men pregnant. Nami used this power to punish countless players. In an era when women had no standing, she successfully defended their rights. Then, under Nick's despairing gaze, Nami stepped aside and made a phone call.
Hey, looks like I'm free after all.
Clearly, she'd already lined up her next target. In the end, with agony written on his face, Nick's body exploded. He paid the price for what he'd done, meeting his end in a burst.
That was a story.
You mean it?
Absolutely.
This story was a little more interesting. There was punishment, there was suspense, and it even gave you something to reflect on. But Sam still didn't think it was scary enough. What she liked were the truly dark horror stories, and these clearly fell short. So Byron stopped holding back, and launched straight into the third story. This time, the leads were a couple. After a long courtship, David and his partner finally tied the knot. At the wedding, they made their vows to each other. Through sickness and health, they'd stay devoted until death. But not long after the wedding, his wife fell gravely ill. She lost the ability to move, and even speaking became a luxury. At first David cared for her attentively every day, cooking all kinds of delicious meals. He firmly believed she would get better, but as the days dragged on, her condition didn't improve at all, and David's spirit gradually began to crumble. The love that was once until death was now just endless credit card bills he couldn't pay off. Thinking about how young he still was, David didn't want to spend the rest of his life like this, and so, a vicious idea formed in his mind. One day, David just couldn't take it anymore, and called in his wife's attending doctor. He wanted to end this bleak, hopeless life, and the doctor knew exactly what David meant. All these years caring for his wife, David had no hobbies left. He'd lost far too much. He was under 30, but looked 50. He'd been through what most people never face in a lifetime. The doctor pulled out a powerful painkiller. Just have your wife take it, and she'll fall into a deep sleep, never to wake again, and it would leave no evidence behind. Staring at the painkiller in his hand, David fell deep into thought. In the end, he steeled himself and made his choice. He prepared a candlelit dinner, and dressed his wife in beautiful clothes. Even if they had to part, he wanted her to leave looking her best. Maybe out of guilt, he gave his wife one last gift, a little rabbit figurine. It was her favorite Lucky Charm. After all that, David took out the painkiller, and poured it into the food right in front of her. As much as it pained him, to escape this life that was breaking him, David still fed the food to his wife. But the moment she ate it, she suddenly reacted, gripping David's arm tightly, and that one grip brought all the memories rushing back. Overcome with guilt, he immediately held her close, and made her spit out all the medicine. But as he turned to grab something to clean up the mess, his wife, without his support, toppled onto the table, and the gift he'd given her became the culprit, piercing straight through her forehead. She might have been saved, but with this second injury, no one could turn it back now. Panicked, David called the doctor. Maybe afraid of taking the blame, the doctor actually told him to destroy the body. With no other option, David could only do as he was told. He pulled out the luggage from their wedding, and put his wife inside, but the case was too small, and her legs were still sticking out. By now David had lost all reason. He grabbed a chainsaw, planning to amputate her legs, but the moment he started, the searing pain jolted his wife awake. David instinctively tried to calm her, but in his panic, he accidentally yanked out the rabbit figurine. Now it was truly over. His wife finally died from blood loss, and David's eyes turned bloodshot red, with only one thought left in his mind, to say goodbye to his old life. After all that, David finally closed the suitcase. It was deep in the night, and everything outside was quiet. David dragged the suitcase into the elevator, but right as he got in, a couple appeared outside. Feeling guilty, he naturally wasn't going to let them in. He slammed the close button, and managed to keep the man out. David let out a heavy sigh of relief. He thought everything would go smoothly from here, but then the elevator broke down, and he ended up trapped inside. David refused to just wait for the end, so he tried to pry open the steel doors. After a lot of effort, he finally got them open, but the elevator was stuck between floors, and there was no way out. David cursed in a rage, and right at that moment, he noticed something even more terrifying. A large amount of blood was seeping out of the suitcase. This scared David out of his wits. He instinctively grabbed some clothes to wipe it clean, but the floor only got dirtier. He knew someone would find out sooner or later, so he pinned his hopes on the ceiling, but the moment he stepped on the suitcase, his foot slipped, and he landed flat on his backside. One thing after another finally broke David completely. He tore the ring off his finger, shouting that he wished he'd never gotten married. Maybe his words struck a chord with his wife, because a moment later, crying came from the suitcase in front of him. Then the suitcase opened on its own. David crept forward to look, but before he could open it, the elevator suddenly plunged downward. David thought it had been fixed, but he soon realized something was wrong. The elevator wouldn't stop. It kept running up and down, and a hole appeared in the door. David looked out through the hole, and to his shock, he saw the sweet times he and his wife had shared. Back then they loved each other, a model couple in everyone's eyes. But ever since his wife got sick, everything changed. Maybe David's heart had changed, or maybe life had brought them too much hardship, but now all of it was gone. David's heart turned to ash, and time seemed to stand still. His wife rose up from the suitcase, and placed the ring, the symbol of their love, on his finger, maybe until her very last moment. She never blamed the husband before her. Perhaps this is what true love really is. Later, the rescue team arrived, but there wasn't a drop of blood on the floor. Turns out, from the moment the elevator broke down, David had slipped into a hallucination. None of it was real, but the effect on him remained. He kept repeating his wedding vows, through sickness and health, "I will stay devoted until death." David had lost his mind, and was later locked away in a psychiatric ward. It has to be said, this was a tragic tale. What David did was chilling, but if we went through the same ordeal, what choice would we make? Byron said something with deep meaning. Everyone pays a price for their actions. It's fate. No one can escape it. Then Byron asked Sam to help push a small coffin into the incinerator. He'd told 3 stories in a row, but still hadn't won Sam's approval. So Sam decided to tell a story of her own, and the lead was none other than herself. Turns out Sam wasn't there for a job at all. She came for the body inside that coffin. Sam said that not long ago, she'd been a babysitter. It was a stormy night. An urgent news bulletin came on the TV. A mental patient called the Tooth Fairy had escaped from the asylum. He was violent by nature, and had already committed a string of crimes, most of the victims being children. Police urged everyone to lock their doors and windows, and to report any suspicious person right away. Sam wasn't scared when she saw it, but since it was just her and the child at home, for safety's sake, she went outside to do a quick patrol. At that point she didn't notice the signs that the glass in the house had been tampered with. After locking all the doors and windows, Sam went to the kitchen, put on some music, and danced away happily. Meanwhile, she turned up the microwave, which seemed to be heating something inside. As the rain outside grew heavier, Sam saw something unbelievable in the living room. A strange man was sitting there, thinking of the killer from the news. Sam instantly had a bad feeling, but her first thought wasn't to call the police. Instead she went to the kitchen and grabbed a weapon to defend herself, and the moment she turned around, the man silently appeared behind her. He begged Sam to help him. Sam didn't dare resist, and could only go along, tending to the man's wounds. Just then, a message from her employer played on the phone.
Why the hell aren't you answering the phone? Listen, there was a riot over at the asylum and a psychopath escaped. It's the same one responsible for all those kids that were mutilated and...
That message instantly put the two of them on edge. Sam struck first, shoving the man's hand into the meat grinder, then grabbed her weapon and smashed it down. But the man was no pushover. One kick sent Sam flying, then a fierce fight broke out between them. Sam was no match for the man at all. She was quickly knocked to the ground, and left unable to fight. But strangely, the man didn't finish her off. Instead he turned and headed upstairs, searching for the little boy named Logan. But the room was already empty. The man let out a furious roar. The sound jolted the weakened Sam awake. Enduring the pain, she chased upstairs. When enemies meet, the brave one wins. The two clashed again in the room in a brutal struggle. Even though Sam gave it everything she had, she was ultimately knocked to the ground by the man. He gripped her throat tightly, demanding to know where the child was. And just as she was about to suffocate, Sam said something.
You're not a killer.
And those words brought the man back to his senses. He seemed to realize something, and instinctively let go of the weakened Sam. Then he staggered off to the side, but Sam wasn't going to let him off. Catching him off guard, she shoved him straight down the stairs. With a sharp crack, the man snapped his neck as he tumbled. But even so, Sam didn't stop. She hauled over a television nearby, and slammed it down onto the man's head. At that same moment, the child's parents arrived home. But when they saw the man lying on the floor, the father said something no one expected.
Sam. It's the babysitter.
Logan!
Turns out this man was the family's actual babysitter, and Sam was the mental patient who'd escaped the asylum. The serial killer, the Tooth Fairy. The couple then searched the entire house, but couldn't find their son anywhere. Just as they despaired, the microwave next to them beeped. When they opened it and looked, they nearly stopped breathing from the horror. After hearing the Tooth Fairy's whole story, Byron didn't panic in the slightest. Turns out he'd seen through her identity long ago, but what he was curious about was why she'd come here. The Tooth Fairy didn't answer. Instead, she pulled a tooth from the corpse. It was her habit after a killing, to take the victim's tooth as a trophy to keep. Now that she'd achieved her goal, Byron had no reason to exist anymore. She grabbed her dagger and stabbed him, and just like that, Byron was killed. But just as she was about to leave, the Byron who should have been dead stood up again, saying, "You've achieved your goal, but mine is only just beginning." Seeing the eerie look on Byron's face, the Tooth Fairy had a bad feeling inside. She hurried out of the place, but the instant she stepped through the door, she witnessed something unbelievable. She seemed trapped in some kind of loop. Outside the door was the same place. The Tooth Fairy was trapped here. Just as she panicked, Byron silently appeared behind her. He told her running was useless. This was the fate she deserved. The Tooth Fairy wasn't going to just wait for death. She went to the library to find a way out, but it was like a maze in there too. Not only did she fail to find an exit, she got lost instead. Just as she was at a loss, Byron appeared again, and answered all her questions. Turns out Byron had once been a cruel man too, but when he came here, and became the one in charge, he realized his mistakes. Every deed has its cause and effect. All these years he'd been atoning for his sins, and now it was the Tooth Fairy's turn. Under Byron's control, many books fell from the shelves, each one detailing the crimes she'd committed. As the pages opened, the vengeful spirits of those she'd killed emerged. Using the very same methods, they tore the Tooth Fairy apart. But Byron didn't let her die just like that. He sewed the Tooth Fairy's body back together, making her the morgue's next keeper, trapped here forever. And Byron walked out the door. His mission was over. He was finally free. In the end, Byron slowly faded into the ether. This too was the fate he deserved. At the story's end, the Tooth Fairy told these stories to a little boy. But just as the boy was about to leave, the Tooth Fairy refused to let him go.
I better get going.
So soon. I was just about to make dinner.
And with that, the movie ends. This morgue collects all sorts of death stories, and every keeper is a great villain. They're trapped here by a mysterious force, and can only be truly freed once they find a successor to take their place. The film never explains what wrong the last little boy committed, but since the Tooth Fairy chose him, he must have done plenty of irreversible things too. Evil begets evil, cause and effect. That's the whole point of this morgue's existence. In the first story, Judy's fate proved that curiosity kills the cat. Greed turned her into the creature's prey. Those blinded by desire will only reap what they sow in the end. The second story, with its absurd premise of male pregnancy, both criticized the selfishness and irresponsibility of players, and mocked, in the most extreme way, the state of women's rights back then. Treat love like a game, ignore other people's feelings, and it'll come back to bite you. The third story is about the struggles of marriage. David's marriage reflects many real-life dilemmas. When love is worn down by illness and pressure, loyalty and betrayal become the biggest challenge. The film doesn't directly condemn David. Instead, it shows us the more complex side of human nature, both cowardly escape and regret that came too late. And the fourth story exposes a killer's brutality. Plus, there's a jaw-dropping twist here. Just when everyone was worried for the Tooth Fairy, they realize she's the twisted murderer. When the evil in one's heart goes unchecked, it's bound to lead to destruction. These four stories are both standalone and tightly connected, and that doctor is the thread running through them all. He's not the direct perpetrator, but in every story he plays the role of fanning the flames. He knew the bathroom was dangerous, yet he didn't warn the thief. He witnessed the player's bizarre fate, yet chose to ignore it. He even helped someone kill his own wife. He thought he was the bystander in control of it all, never knowing he'd long become a part of the evil. In the end, the doctor paid the price he deserved, forever losing his beloved son. His story sounds a warning for us all. In the face of great evil and injustice, silence isn't neutrality. It's just another form of complicity. What the film mainly wants to tell us is that the weaknesses of human nature are everywhere. Desire, selfishness, cowardice, can all lead us toward the abyss. In real life, we won't face the extreme situations in the film, but every choice has its cause and effect. Respecting others, holding to your principles, revering life, that's the best way to break free from your chains. Alright, that's it for today's story. I'm Jack. See you next time.